Greetings and good morning, Hawaii. You're listening to Radio Honolulu. Today, December the 7th, the weather is perfect, and we would like to bring this song for the listening pleasure of all U.S. military personnel on Hawaii.
Come from every quarter, from the north, south, east, and west, to clear
Jenny, why aren't you eating?
the land we love the best. We've left our occupation and home so far and dear, but when the going's rather rough,
Mom, is Daddy going to leave us again today?
good morning.
Yes, Jenny. You know full well that he's on duty, even on Sundays.
Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 you're surely looking fine.
Hey, you two. I have a surprise for both of you.
If the camels don't get to the petite,
I took the day off so I could spend the entire day with two beautiful ladies.
your heck is not as high.
We get to play with Daddy today!
Don't worry. The Arizona will somehow manage without me for one whole day.
On the highway, you meet them down the pike in olive drab and khaki, all down the hike.
Mommy! Get up! Mommy, please, get up! Mommy! Please, get up! Mommy! Please!
This is preposterous. Utterly preposterous. Our Pacific Fleet has been destroyed at Pearl Harbor, clearly demonstrating an unprecedented level of complacency and incompetence in our high command. On top of all this disastrous news, our territories in the Pacific are being captured by the Japanese daily. Gentlemen, this cannot be allowed to continue. Admiral Nimitz, you are hereby appointed the new Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet. I expect you to fully engage the Japanese and put an end to this nonsense immediately. You must save our nation. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Mr. President, indeed, the situation is dire. However, I'm convinced that decisive actions will swing the balance in our favor.
Mr. President, the appointment of Chester Nimitz is the best thing that you could have done to put the Japanese in their place. Together we will protect our country from the Japanese threat.
It is my direct command to you, Admiral Nimitz, that the Japanese offensive in the Pacific be completely thwarted.
Yes, sir.
Ernest, Chester, do not let our country down.
Oh my God, it is worse than in the newspapers. Oklahoma, capsized, 429 dead. Arizona, exploded, 1,177 dead. We have lost so many brave seamen, and it all happened in 1 hour. How many more have to die before we end this war?
I hope that we can get back at those damn Japs, sir.
We have to regain our strength first, then retaliate at the right moment. And here comes my fleet. Enter.
Naval Intelligence Officer Lieutenant Commander Leyte, reporting for duty as ordered, sir.
At ease, Lieutenant Commander. Give me the situation report.
The Japanese carrier task force is headed in a...
read the report, Leyte. I am interested in the officer's mood, not the statistics.
Well, after everything that happened, sir, everyone expects to be relieved of duty. I'm also willing to take responsibility for our collective failures, sir. Who should I transfer my duties to?
Sit down, Lieutenant Commander. Lieutenant Commander, I've scrutinized the report and the attack on the Pearl Harbor. I have come to the conclusion that you and the other officers are not to blame. It could have happened to anyone. It's my sincere hope, Leyte, that you and all the other men will remain in your assigned duties. America most assuredly needs you.
Well, Admiral, we all know this is a catastrophe, sir. Our Pacific Fleet is all destroyed.
No. I would not say that's true. Our aircraft carriers are still in good shape. So, despite the devastating blow, it's still too early for us to give up. This is especially true in your case, Leyte. You have spent years in Tokyo, and you studied the Japanese mentality and their traditions, and know them better than anyone else. Your knowledge is an invaluable asset. Edwin, let's assume that you are Admiral Yamamoto. What would your next move be?
Well, sir, I would focus on this southern region, sir. The Japanese are in dire need of fuel. So they're going to have to occupy New Guinea. And then all the nearby islands which are rich in oil. At the same time, they should try to capture Port Moresby, which is to support any subsequent invasion of Australia.
That is exactly what I have assumed as well. And that is where we're going to stop them.
Mr. President, I have great news for you, sir.
Go ahead, Ernest.
Mr. President, we have prevented the Japanese from completing their plan to occupy Port Moresby, sir. The Japs will not show up there again. The Australian region is now safe.
Congratulations! our first major battle with the Japanese, where we have been victorious. Our new Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, Chester Nimitz, has proven that our trust in him was well placed.
Gentlemen, I have just come from Washington to discuss with you how to repel the upcoming Japanese attack. Give me your thoughts.
Well, we have collectively deducted that the Japanese plan to attack the Midway atoll, sir. We're actively preparing our defense.
Well, listen, if I were you, Admiral, I would not be too hasty in those plans. Our people in Washington are concerned with the possibility of a second attack on Pearl Harbor. I cannot allow the Japanese to disgrace us a second time.
Well, things are quite different this time. This time, we managed to get exceptionally precise information about the enemy plans. My intelligence officer will report. Commander.
Please, have a look at our latest radio intercepts of the Japanese fleet's communications, sir.
Oh my. If you've not seen this intel in your dreams, Leighton, then I'll wager that you know more about the movements of the Japanese fleet than Admiral Yamamoto himself. You're one lucky devil, Nimitz. That is for sure.
Well, sir, luck comes to only those who are ready to accept it. One has to know how not to miss it. My headquarters has already devised our response to the Japanese, sir. We're ready to implement it.
Well then, I would say get on with it, Admiral.
Good day to you. It is a New York Public Radio broadcast, and I'm Harry Mitchell here with you today. We have just received urgent news from the Pacific, where our heroic Navy has just achieved a major victory over the Japanese. Let us quote from a communique by the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, Admiral Chester William Nimitz. Pearl Harbor has now been partially avenged. Vengeance will not be complete until Japanese sea power is reduced to impotence. We have made substantial progress in that direction. Perhaps we will be forgiven if we claim that we're midway to that objective. Enter.
Greetings, Admiral. Holland McDyer Smith, General, Amphibious Corps, Pacific Fleet, United States Marine Corps. Sir.
That is Howland Matt Smith. I know very well who you are. I'm all ears.
Well, just one damned request, sir. I spent the last few years training the Marine 5th Amphibious Corps. Now that the war is going full steam ahead, I just can't sit in training base like some lame old duck while my men are out fighting fearlessly on the front lines. Let me assume the personal command of the landing operations and fight along with the Marines I have trained.
Your transfer would not be easy to organize, General. More directly to the point, would there not be some problems with the critical Marines training program in your absence?
Admiral, as a dedicated Marine, that was my first thought as well. So, I took care of all the necessary preparations. I can assure you, the training process is very well organized, and it will not suffer due to the transfer.
Well, all right, General. I will honor your request. But in exchange, I expect I can count on your typically impeccable command of all our landing operations.
Aye, aye, sir. I won't leave those Japanese bastards any more land than is needed for their graves. Of that, there will be no doubt.
Well, you will soon have the opportunity to prove that, General Smith.
not put our carriers at risk. We have to leave the area immediately. Signal a full withdrawal.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, General. Your transfer turned out to be a great decision.
Yes, thank you, sir. We've shown those damn Japs the might of the true United States Marines. Though I have to say they did put up one hell of a fight.
Really? Have you not heard the most recent Tokyo radio report?
No. I've been busy listening to the Japanese Artillery Concerto number 91. For a 100mm howitzer with full orchestra.
Then you have missed the broadcast claiming that the Japanese troops left Guadalcanal due to the change in army positions. Not because of your mighty Marines defeating them in battle.
God damn this propaganda bullshit. You know, if I ever encounter any of those lying bastards, I will be very glad to show them a truly unforgettable change in positions.
Europe is in chaos. The fall of Hitler is not very far away. And it is high time that we think about the world power structure after the war. We have finally managed to negotiate a meeting with Churchill and Stalin. It would have been very advantageous to have produced a decisive victory over the Japanese prior to the Tehran meeting. It would have strengthened our position diplomatically during the upcoming negotiations.
We cannot allow the Japanese time to recuperate. We have to take both the Gilbert and the Marshall Islands with a decisive invasion victory.
Well, my Marines know their job, Admiral, and they will swiftly bring the islands under the U.S. flag. However, in order to succeed, we need the Navy to perform extensive preliminary bombardment. We must wipe out all of these damn Japanese fortifications with large ordnance shelling. I am not going to send my men into the jaws of hell and certain death. We need to soften up the enemy's resolve and resources.
Undoubtedly, nevertheless, I have to point out that we have gained a strategic advantage over our opponent, and time is on our side. We should act deliberately and carefully in order to minimize our losses.
Well, then we shouldn't have any difficulties with the landing, should we?
Mr. President, I think this is a good plan. Its implementation allows us to proceed with an offensive on the Mariana Islands.
I agree with your arguments, gentlemen, and I hereby order you to launch the operation immediately. And I expect you to bring it to fruition in a very timely manner.
Dead Marines send their greetings, Admiral. They would have greeted you themselves if only you had commanded a damn 2-day delay and performed the required preliminary bombardment. You said the Navy will provide all possible support. Well, this is your support.
I totally understand your feelings, General. I am also unhappy with how our landing operation on Tarawa was carried out. However, I'm sure that you understand we're both military men, and we have to follow orders. Not always can we see here on the front lines what the whole picture of the war is. I'm sure that the leaders of our country will do everything in their power so that this sacrifice would not be in vain.
Yeah, well, Typical political babbling. This is the price of that damn conference.
We have not wasted any time in our efforts and now produce far more warships, planes and other military equipment overall than the glorious Empire of Japan. We are in the process of rearming our naval forces with the new Essex-class carriers, equipped with the Hellcat fighters and the Helldiver bombers.
Time works in our favor. From a strategic point of view, we're in no hurry. But we certainly cannot just sit and foolishly wait around either.
That's true. When do you plan to start an offensive in the Marianas Island area?
Tomorrow, I will give the command to advance towards the islands.
Sir, according to our intelligence, Admiral Nagumo, who commanded the attack on Pearl Harbor, is on the island of Saipan. He commands the garrison on the island.
This man must not escape punishment. Everyone needs to know you can attack the United States, but you cannot escape our wrath.
Agreed. I will see to it that everyone responsible for the attack on Pearl Harbor will receive a very just punishment.
I have brought dishonor upon my country and my family. Oh gods, how could it come to this? I faithfully served my emperor. I've dedicated my life to the Navy. I brought up 2 sons, and I also made them dedicate their lives to the Navy. What for? What is the purpose of all this? I destroyed the American fleet at Pearl Harbor. I sunk their new fleet at Midway. I bombed their Marines on Guadalcanal. I am proud of that. However, it was not enough. We are all warriors of the Emperor, descendants of samurai. Our spirit is indomitable, and we thought our troops to be indomitable too. Yet we have failed. We have failed the Emperor. We have failed the sacred spirits of our ancestors. I have failed. I cannot live with such dishonor. Though I am unworthy to die a noble death by my own sword, as the samurai of ages long ago, I will die as a soldier. A soldier of His Majesty, the Emperor.
Admiral, permission to speak frankly, sir.
Granted, General. You have my attention.
The memories of the Botchawara landing have not left me. I refuse to witness my men being sacrificed again by the harebrained idiots in Washington. If the Navy somehow forgets once again to provide a preliminary shelling and landing zone bombardment, then I will refuse to take command of this operation. I would rather take a rifle and go with the first landing rank and die alongside my men.
Please, General, relax. This time I made sure the Washington bureaucrats could not draw us into another ill-planned action. The command of the operation is entirely ours, and no one will intervene. We can spend as much time liberating the island of Guam as is needed, within reason. Needless to say, the Navy will provide full support.
If what you say is true, then rest assured, soon this useless patch of land will be in our complete control. We have devised a brilliant plan for the landing on this damned island, and are ready to provide these goddamn Japs with their own personal death festival.
I never doubted for one moment your talent as a tactician, General. Your howling mad name is well deserved. I wish you all possible success with this strategic landing operation. Congratulations, General. You have completed your landing operations with amazing precision and results.
Indeed, with the strength and the might of the United States Marines. Give me a place to land, and with my invincible Marines, and I will move the earth.
Incoming enemy aircraft!
Those crazy Japs, they just crashed right straight into our carrier. What is this? Some type of new tactical bullshit?
Maybe they didn't have enough fuel to get back to their carrier.
Well, that usually happens only to lone pilots. This is very strange.
Well, sir, according to our data, the number of Japanese soldiers taken captive is minuscule. Most of them prefer to die in combat or take their own lives. Is it possible that these fanatics decided to take out our ship in a similar manner?
I hope that you're wrong, Leighton. Because if these guys have decided to use that tactic, we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, sir, I would bet that these nuts are going to do the very thing you just described.
As far as I'm concerned, our victory in this war is without a doubt. It is time for the Japanese to pay their debt. I have discussed the situation with the Army, High Command, and we have come to the conclusion the time is ripe for us to liberate the Philippines. However, before I make my final decision, I would like to hear what the Navy has to say about this.
My, our beloved Army cannot help trying to wage war in the Pacific Ocean. If you ask me, I would say Admiral Nimitz and General Smith have done a great job up until this moment. And I'm equally convinced they will liberate the Philippines in no time.
Yes, we have devised a comprehensive operational plan for both the naval and landing operations in the Philippines region, sir. We're ready to begin the liberation of the Philippines as soon as you give the order.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear of the high combat readiness of the United States Navy. However, this time you're going to have to work together with the Army. The command of the landing operation will be under General MacArthur.
What the A brilliant decision.
When MacArthur lost the Philippines, he promised to his people that he will return and liberate them. It is time for him to show the world that the United States keeps its word.
Well, if the High Command has decided on the operational plan, then the Navy will do its part, whatever the task is.
The Japanese buried the majority of their fleet in that battle today.
They tried to lure our fleet into an ambush, but ultimately ended up springing their own trap.
Come on, Chester. You say that the Japanese defeated themselves and you were just a plain bystander? Don't be so humble. The press will not appreciate that. Today, you have turned the enemy's power against him. I can already see the headline in the newspaper's front pages.
Yeah, sounds good. If I ever want to see my face on the front pages, I will know just exactly what to say. Ivojima looks empty and desolate. It's hard to believe that thousands of Japanese soldiers are hiding out
Hell,
there.
hiding they are. Goddamn bastards. Our air reconnaissance warns us about their intensive fortifications. Those Japs are dug in deep, into the ground, and they're waiting for our bombardment. Damn moles, if you ask me. I say cut the island from all the supplies and wait until they eat each other out of famine. Bon appetit, bastards.
We don't have much time. Ivojima plays a key role in the upcoming operations.
Hell, in that case, we should make one hell of a bombardment and bury all these bastard rats in their wretched holes.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, General, but our supply ships have limited ammunition, and we will not be able to resupply during the operation. So use your artillery support very carefully and very wisely.
So, where are our supply vessels?
Currently, all of them are very busy supporting MacArthur's operation in the Philippines.
Goddamn MacArthur is everywhere. He's like an evil fate haunting me and my Marines. God damn it. Seems like we will have to put our heads into the Japanese tiger's mouth once again and ask him nicely not to chew it.
Sir, Japanese propaganda came up with an ingenious new idea. 100 million glorious deaths in honor of the Emperor God.
100 million what?
Sir, let me quote, 100 million glorious deaths in honor of the God Emperor. Sir, they are convincing the people of the Empire that it is their sacred duty to give their lives for the Emperor. And now the time has come that it's a pinnacle of nobility and honor.
Such ignobility. The ruling parties want to keep the power and escape the war crimes punishment? They're hiding behind millions of innocent women and children who would just throw themselves in our bullets of their own volition? Absolutely incredible. Despicable.
The time has come for our victory. The 509th Composite Air Group is ready to start the atomic bombing operation.
Well, you know full well that I'm not a supporter of this idea, Ed. I do not find it ethical to use the civilian population of a big city as a test ground.
Admiral, with due respect, allow me to disagree with you, sir. You know the Japanese well. They would blow up their entire family with grenades, just to avoid being captured by the atrocious Americans. If we start a landing operation on Honshu, most of them would decide that it's better to die than to allow despicable Americans to set foot on their soil. In this case, sir, the atomic bombing is the most humanitarian way.
With all due respect, Leighton, I would ask you to never again, in my presence, use the words atomic bombing and humanitarian in one sentence.
Sir, I agree. It is an oxymoron. Nevertheless, I'm unable to see it another way. More precisely, imagine how many more American soldiers' lives will be lost in vain. Do you not want to preserve hundreds of thousands of soldiers and officers' lives?
Yes, it will save our soldiers' lives. Do not try to pose as a savior of the Japanese people while advocating atomic bombing. It just sounds incredibly hypocritical.
I understand your indignation, Admiral. But the decision has already been accepted at the highest level, and there is nothing we can do about it. So, let us not mourn too long, shall we? And have a drink of the finest whiskey I have brought with me from Washington. Let us celebrate our victory and the peace to come.
Please, gentlemen, if you will, go without me. I hope you will forgive me. I would rather have some moments to myself.
The thoughts and hopes of all America, indeed of all the civilized world, are centered tonight on the battleship Missouri. There, on that small piece of American soil, anchored in Tokyo Harbor, the Japanese have just officially laid down their arms. They have signed terms of unconditional surrender. The evil done by the Japanese warlords can never be repaired or forgotten. But their power to destroy and kill has been taken from them. Their armies, and what is left of their navy, are now impotent. It was the spirit of liberty which gave us our armed strength and which made our men invincible in battle. We now know that that spirit of liberty, the freedom of the individual, and the personal dignity of man are the strongest and toughest and most enduring forces in all the world. From this day we move forward. We move toward a new era of security at home. With the other United Nations, we move toward a new and better world of cooperation, of peace, and international goodwill.